going on, guys? Welcome back to Flight Sim Academy. Today we're going to be picking up where we left off last week, 2 weeks ago, with our basics of the checklist. We're going to be starting today where we left off, as I said, right after the run-up, and we're going to be taking off, and we're going to be flying a simple pattern. If we have enough time, we'll get to the shutdown checklist. So, in the meantime, just enjoy some nice music while we get ourselves taxied down to the Callout runway, which is going to be 3-3 at this airport. First, we're going to make our call out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is backtaxing runway 33, Sheldon. And welcome back. So as you can see, we have taxied all the way back down to runway 33 here. As I said, 33 is going to be our Callout runway. You can find that on most supplement chart and any online website that you get your airport information from. We'll tell you in the additional remarks whether what runway is going to be the Callout runway, and as I said, in Sheldon, that's going to be runway 33 here. So that back taxi clearance is going to get us all the way back to the run-up pad here, which if you were going to take off from runway 33, you would first back taxi here and then do your run-up. We did not do that. That is very bad of me. Very bad. But in the meantime, the next set of clearances here, you'll probably see those in the bottom of the screen, is going to be our departure clearance, and this is a good time before that actually to talk about the nice little drawing you see up behind me. We have our wonderful drawing here. As we can see, we have runways 15 and 33. Right now we are right here, if you can see that, on the blast pad, or run-up pad, sorry. This is describing the typical traffic pattern for runway 33. Again, if you look on any of the supplement charts, or I use AirNav, any website you use to get your airport information, you can find which direction traffic patterns are at specific airports and runways. So in this case, runway 33 is going to be a left-hand traffic pattern. We're going to take off and then first fly the upwind, which is going to be directly out of Sheldon here at the airport heading of 33. Once we've reached pattern altitude, which in a 172 is going to be 500 feet above the runway elevation, plus rounding up to 100 feet. So in this case, it's going to be 1900 feet. Once you reach that altitude, you turn 90 degrees, in this case to the left, and at this point you're not making any ATC Common Traffic Advisory call-out yet. You turn 90 degrees, and then you're going to be on what you call the crosswind. You're going to continue, and once you're about 1 nautical mile away from the airport, you're going to make a call-out. And this call-out, probably again see at the bottom of the screen here, is going to be, once again, Sheldon Traffic, your call sign, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha, is turning left downwind on runway 33, and then Sheldon. So you're going to make that call out as you're turning. Pilots should be able to do multiple things at once, one of those things being making a call out on the radio and controlling the aircraft at the same time. So you're going to make that call out, you're going to turn parallel to the runway. Once again, as I said, about 1 nautical mile out from the airport. That's going to be your downwind, as you probably might have guessed from the call out. So you're going to continue on the downwind, and once you're about halfway down the runway, halfway to 3/4 down the runway, you're going to start bringing your power back, in this case in a 172, to 1800 RPM. As you're doing that, you're maintaining the altitude and adjusting your trim as necessary. So by the time you get to around this point here, which is about the same distance that you took from taking off upwind here, you want to be at 80 knots, which is going to be right inside your white arc. Once you're right inside that white arc, you're going to make the call out. Then, once again, Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning left base on runway 33. And again, you're going to drop your first notch of flaps and then make that turn at the same time. Once again, being a 90-degree turn, going perpendicular to the runway. And then right as you come up, you're going to make the call out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning final on runway 33. Now if you notice, I've said final, not left, not right, final, because at this point it doesn't matter. Because you could be, let's say the column runway is going to be 33, but the traffic pattern is going to be a right pattern. So you would go fly the upwind, but then you would turn right instead of left. Now say you're way down here. There's another airport or aircraft in the pattern, or in the vicinity of the airport. It matters if you're on right base or left base. It matters if you're on left downwind or right downwind. So saying those directions are important, and you need to remember to say them. But once you get on final, it doesn't matter, because you're in that one single path. So, once you do end up turning final, you're going to drop your last notch of flaps. So just to clarify, you drop your first notch of flaps in the downwind once you've gotten inside the white arc. You drop your second notch of flaps once you're established on the base leg. And right as you go final, you're going to drop that last notch of flaps. Once you get a good glide slope, you want to flare right above the numbers. Touch down nicely, and there you've done a traffic pattern. If you take off again, you're doing a touch and go. Usually you don't need to announce that. However, ATC might ask you whether you are. They will ask you, tell you that it's your option, which will mean you can either do a full stop or a touch and go, or they will specifically tell you you are cleared for a full stop or cleared for a touch and go. And you need to announce which one you're doing. In a non-towered airport, doesn't really matter. Just announce whether you are taking off or are on final. Now let's try it in FSX. Now, let's review the checklist quick. Takeoff checklist. Smoothly increase thrust to full. Brakes release. V1 is going to be 55 knots. And your rotate speed is going to be 65. Let's get started. At this point, you're going to announce your intention. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is departing runway 33 for a left-hand touch and go. Smoothly increase thrust. Want to maintain a little bit of pressure on whatever steering system you have to maintain straight and on the line takeoff. Desicion speed is going to be 55, rotate to 60. At this point, we're going to adjust our trim and adjust our path to stay in line with the runway all the way down and maintain 70 knot climb. So as we can see here, I am still a little bit low, just about getting to that 70 knots, so I'm going to increase the trim further. And we are, in fact, coming up on that 1900 foot pattern. So we're going to slowly level off. Still maintain a little bit of climb here, just to get to that 1900. And at this point, we are going to bring the throttle back just a little bit to about 2100 to 2200 RPM. And then again, adjust that trim as necessary to maintain that 1900 feet. Once we're at this point, we're going to turn, again, that 90 degrees to the left. You want to be careful in the turns, especially in the pattern. You just want to make sure the ball is centered up, so that way one wing does not generate more lift than the other. You also want to make sure that you maintain that level flight. So, we've made this 90-degree turn. We're going to make it about 1 nautical mile away from the airport here. Once again, maintaining the straight and level flight, maintaining trim as needed. So let's get a distance at this point. I'm going to begin the turn, and I'm going to make the call out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning left downwind on runway 33. Sheldon. Once again, maintaining the ball centered and maintaining straight and level flight. And if you can also look down at my little meter here, directional gyro, you can see that there are various tick marks on each part. You can use these tick marks to your advantage to determine what is parallel to the runway and what is perpendicular. So just keep that in mind. So maintaining straight and level flight, watching the runway as we go to see where I need to pull power back. This is a little bit farther out than what I anticipated. However, it will make for a good first pattern demonstration. So we are past the halfway point now, so we're going to pull that power back to 1800 RPM, as we can see on our tachometer down there. And then I'm going to, again, adjust the trim. The trim is your best friend. As you bring the power back, the nose is going to go down because your trim is going to become less effective. I'm within the white arc. I'm going to drop the notch of flaps, and then I'm going to turn down, or base here. So I'm going to call it out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha, turning left base over runway 33. And then at this point, you want to be shooting for 75 knots. You want to maintain the 1800 RPM, but maintain 75 knots, sorry. And the way this is going to work is, if you need more airspeed, you pitch the nose down. Sorry. If you need less airspeed, pitch the nose up. If you are coming down too fast, put in more power. If you are coming down too slow, put in less power, more power. You get what I'm saying. So we are, in fact, a little bit low here. I'm going to adjust my throttle as necessary. And we are well established in the base, so I'm going to drop that second notch of flaps too. And we're going to be shooting for 70 knots at this point. We're coming in a little fast. I'm going to bring the power up. I want to maintain about a level at this point. This is a little way too low. But it's good. So we are good here to turn final, so I'm going to call it out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning final runway 33 for a left-hand touch-up. Sheldon. And here we can see I made the turn too early. That's something that comes with experience and with time. You're not going to get that on your first try. However, a good CFI will bring you through a good number of touch and goes, so that way you can get it well established. So I'm good on the final now. Drop that last notch of flaps and get centered up at the center line. I'm shooting for 60, so I am a little fast, so I'm going to bring that power back again. And you want to shoot it for red over white in this case. Red over red, you're dead. Bring the power all the way out. A little bit rough. tough, but for all things considered. So we're going to do this again. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha, spreading runway 33 for left hand, touch go. Rotate. And again, you want to stay lined up with the runway for as long as you can. Put in little bits of correction here and there to maintain that center line all the way. Put in the trim as needed to maintain that 70 knot climb all the way to the 1900 foot traffic pattern, 500 feet AGL. Reaching that point, so once again I'm going to level off slightly here, and then pull the power back just a little bit. I cannot stress this enough, guys. Trim is your best friend. Use the trim. If CFI sees you constantly on the stick, it's not going to be good for you, because the trim is there to alleviate that pressure so you don't have to be constantly jerking the stick. Try to correct what we had in the last one. So Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning left downwind, runway 33. Let's go, Sheldon. And you can see at this point I am much closer to the airport, so I corrected that from the last touch and go. I am a little bit high above my pattern, but that should be fine. We'll correct that in the downwind leg, or in the base leg, sorry. Just maintaining this straight and level flight. A couple things to watch out for specifically in the traffic pattern. Wind. Right now there is no wind, so it's not as much of a factor, but if there is wind, it could push you either away or farther towards the airport, depending on which direction it's coming from. It could help increase or lengthen certain parts. You just got to be careful so that way it's not affecting you too much. At the end of the runway here, we're going to pull power out the right hand, adjust the trim as necessary to maintain straight and level flight. And we are within the wide arc, dropping that last notch, or first notch flaps. And I'm going to be turning to base like here. So Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning left base on runway 33. Sheldon. Maintaining that 75. Coming up on that perpendicular. And once I'm established, we'll drop that second notch of flaps. And then shoot through 70. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is turning final runway 33, Sheldon. See, this time I didn't turn fast enough, or soon enough, and so now I need to correct it back. As I said, these things take time and experience, and your CFI will be sure to throw you soon good number of touch and goes before you get your final pilot. good idea to, on your own time, go through as many touch and goes as you can in the aircraft that you're training with, simply because the more you get accustomed to it, the easier it will become on whatever runway airport you go to in theory. So we're going to taxi back to the ramp now. At this point, we're going to make that call out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is taxiing back to the ramp. Sheldon. If this was a towered airport, they would give you specific taxi instructions to taxi back to the ramp. And once we cross that hold short line, we can go ahead and make this last call out. Sheldon Traffic, Skyhawk 52 Kilo Alpha is clear of all runways. Sheldon. And at that point, all the aircraft on frequency know that we are no longer on the runway, no longer in the pattern, no longer have to worry about us. We're going to go ahead and just taxi over here, and then we're going to run through the shutdown checklist. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Parking brake set. Parking brake is set. Throttle is idle. Fuel pump switch is off. Avionics switch is off. Taxi and nav lights are off. Landing lights off. Pedal heat off. Mixture fuel flow is cut off. Magneto starter switches off. Strobe off. Beacon is off. Panel light off. Battery switch off. And alternator switch is off. And there you go. That is the checklist, or at least the basics of it, for the Cessna 172 that you will be training in to become a private pilot in SKYLOUNGE. If you have any further questions, do not be afraid to contact a CFI. However, it does save them a lot of time if you look at the material first for a question, and if you still don't understand, then come to a CFI. Chances are your question will be answered in the text or in these videos. So once again, if you have any questions, be sure to look at things, read them. If you still don't understand, ask a CFI. And in other words, y'all have yourselves a beautiful day, and maggots, and see you in the skies.